Hey everyone. Today we're going to be talking about partial quotients. Partial quotients is a division strategy that is especially effective when you have students that may be having difficulty with their basic math facts. We're going to work with 45 divided by 3, but it works for any sized numbers. You can have double digit, triple digit, quadruple digit. Doesn't matter, it'll work for everything, and depending on the size of the numbers you use, depends on how fast you solve it. Now, contrary to standard algorithm, this will usually take a little bit longer, but it will get you there. So if you're having trouble using the standard algorithm or you're just not quite sure when to add and when to subtract, this is a great strategy to use. Let's take a look at 45 divided by 3. When we're looking at a division problem, we're talking about removing groups of 3 from 45. So we want to know how many groups of 3 can we form with 45 objects, rubber ducks, cars, people, whatever it may be. How many groups of 3 can we form? So in order to do partial quotients, we're going to use the problem just as it's seen here, but we're going to draw kind of a monkey tail on the end here. And this just goes straight down. Now what we're going to do, instead of going from 3 to try and get as close to 45 as possible without going over, which is the traditional saying with standard algorithm, we just want to think, how many groups of 3 can I take away from 45? And you want to really start with things that are easy for you. So powers of 10, multiples of 10 are a great place to start. So I'm going to think to myself, can I take 10 groups of 3 out of this problem? And in my head, 3 times 10, 10 groups of 3 is 30. Yes, I can take that away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 10 over here. And this represents the number of groups I've taken out of the problem. So if I take 10 groups of 3 away, then I need to subtract that from here. So 10 groups of 3 is 10 times 3, which is 30. And I'm going to write that right there. And since I've already taken those away, I need to find out what's left over. So I'm going to subtract it. Similar to our standard algorithm, 45 minus 30 is going to give me 15. Now right here, some of you may already know that 3 is going to go into 15 evenly. I'm going to have a nice even problem. But I'm going to show you, if you're looking at it and you're still not quite sure what to do, you just work with numbers that work for you. So how many groups of 3 can I take away from 15? Maybe I'm not so sure with my 3's facts, but I do know that 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm going to take away 2 groups. 2 times 3 is 6, and I subtract. 15 minus 6 is 9. And now that I see that 9 there, it clicks in my head. 3 times 3 is 9. I can take 3 more groups away, and that'll get me a nice 0 at the end with no remainder. So I'm going to do 3 groups of 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract it out, and I end up with 0. Now that I've gotten to 0, or I get to the point where 3 won't fit in anymore, I just add these numbers up on the side here, and that's my quotient, or my answer. So I do 10 plus 2 plus 3, and that's going to give me 15. Now, what's really cool about partial quotients, and the reason it helps a lot of students, is it's completely up to them, and they can use any math facts that help them. So we're going to do the same problem, but use completely different numbers, and we'll get the same answer at the end. So let's check it out. I want to keep that on that side of the screen so you can see when you're working with partial quotients, it really doesn't matter how you go about answering it. As long as all your math facts are correct, you should be just fine. So let's go ahead and do 45 divided by 3 again with different partial quotients, but we should end up with the same answer at the end. So I'm going to drop my monkey tail down over there. And now I'm working with my 3's, and instead of jumping right to the 10, let's say I start with 5. So I'm going to take out 5 groups. It's a nice safe number. I know 3 times 5 off the top of my head. 5 times 3 is 15. And I subtract that out. Now I'm going to get 30. And how many groups of 3 can I take out of that? Let me do another 5. I'm safe with 5's. I like my 5's. I'm just going to use my 5's until I run out until I can't do it anymore. So 5 times 3 again is 15. Subtract that out and I get 15 left. And now I can see 15. It's going to be a group of 5. I'm going to take out 5 groups of 3. 5 groups of 3 again is 15. I get 0. And then I add up my partial quotients on the side here. And I'm getting 15. So no matter how you go about solving it, the higher the numbers that you start with, the faster you're going to be able to solve it. But if you're not quite sure, start with the numbers you know. no matter how small it is, it will work eventually. It might take you a little bit longer. You might run onto a couple of different sheets of paper, but you will solve the problem. And that's the beauty of partial quotients.